Hello there everybody and welcome to episode 5 of my Let's Play Advanced Tutorial series for Dwarf Fortress. In the last couple of episodes we have built up glowing paints to a pretty nice little fortress. We've got a designated workshop area for all the different trades, we got a fully functional kitchen, we got a underground farm district, so overall we are thriving. So for today, we got the setup of the tavern, which is a pretty small task, quickly done, nevertheless quite important. And we're going to push deeper and forward through the different stone layers because we do require ore. At the same time, I'm going to give my mining personnel a little bit of a time to dig through all of these layers here. I still have some hope that between the chert layers something might happen and something might show up, but there's one thing: you can't always scan the caverns. If there's something going on ore-wise, you will find some in the caverns, but this chert layer is dry like a bone. So we cannot really expect anything to happen down here. So there's a pretty huge gneiss layer, so maybe gneiss is nice. We'll see about that. And then there's the Gabbro. The Gabbro will be our companion animal for a while here. And we're going to dig ourselves downstairs there. And hopefully we're going to breach through the... Wait a sec. This is weird. So... we got to go where then? Got to go here. There's a pillar. So it's always looking for the pillar to drill down to, you know, when you're trying to breach through the caverns without making real contact with the caverns. It's really important for us because we got no military, so we got to go and play it safe. Alright, so this will give my miners something to do. Press F4, get back to the city core. The dining hall has taken a pretty nice shape. It's a designated zone, so my dwarves will navigate towards it. Wonderful. Why does it look so weird though? It looks as if this was not part of the zone. Anyway, not important. So, for the tavern, we're going to go for a very, very similar setup. First off, we got to floor this place, which is down here a little bit more annoying than at other points because of the very, very segmented nature of this area here. So we got to slam down quite a lot of construction orders, but by now we are used to that. So when building a tavern, it is important that you leave a area that's 5 on 5 grids large free. So we have here 5, we have there 5. This will be the dance floor. We could of course just expand that tavern, but probably not for today. I'm okay with that right now as it is. We're also going to put down some siltstone floor in here because I'm going to do a rented room in here. Okay, so we gotta wait until this is done, and we're going to have a quick detour into the craftsman's district. So I have set up the smithies district down here. I want to carve out a few bays so we at least have the infrastructure down, you know. It'll take a while, but I want to be prepared when we find some ore. According to the Embark report, there is ore somewhere. I am somewhat afraid that it might be hiding in the conglomerate layer. That would be really, really sucky, because that's a completely through and through aquiferous layer, as it seems. So we would have to do some different strategies here. I have ideas. But until then, I'll give my miners the time they'll need to carve through these different layers. It'll take a while, but it is okay. They aren't the smartest here. There was a pretty smart idea that you can work with the priorities here. Right now, they're all at priority 2. So somebody said that you can avoid this weird behavior here by by giving the layers different priorities. So this would be priority 1, priority 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. You could do that, but at the end of the day, then I'm designating all the layers manually again. And that's exactly what I try to avoid with that system, you know. They're not working too efficient here, I'm well aware of that, and it sucks a little bit, but, well, it is as it is. Okay, here nothing will happen because it is a lower priority. I will change that because I really want to know what's below this place here. So we're doing these now with a ultra high priority so we can see what's below the second layer of the caverns. I really like to do my probing very aggressively during the time where we're low on population, because you see, this population count right now, the 26 people, this will stay a while like that. Expecting to have new immigrants at the year 102. That's what I expect. Usually that's the regular timer. You always get 2 immigration waves that are pretty much hard-coded. I always imagine they are the remaining expedition. You know, the first 7 were the pioneers, and the second 2 migration waves were the actual rest of the convoy. That's how it somehow makes sense in the narrative for me. But you can fill in those blanks as you see fit. So, petitions. Another monster hunter is petitioning. You gotta know those monster hunters. They usually only come up when you have breached into the caverns. Otherwise, they won't petition. So the Gabbro here doesn't show any signs of other minerals either. This is not cool. So we're going to go deeper. And here we've struck granite. That's a new layer for us, so we're going to dig out generously here, even if we have the risk of breaching here into some sort of cavern or whatever. I really want to know if there's something down here. So more monster hunters are petitioning. We could make some use out of that, but personally, I prefer to set up the city core before I accept monster hunters, and I also like to have a bit of a trap situation set up that can protect us from any stuff that will breach through. You know, all these things, they go a long way in keeping your fortress safe. Okay, it doesn't seem as if there would be anything in the granite except for some citrine, so it's a pretty rough embark. Usually I find my ores faster. So we go downstairs 10 more levels. I pretty much expect to hit the caverns one more time, but we'll see about that. So granite doesn't seem to be too generous either. We haven't broke the gneiss layer properly, so that's another thing that we can go for. Basically, I'm right now doing these projects to pass my time until the tavern's flooring has been finished. So here we see it stays granite, it stays granite. Here we have diorite. So this is the first moment when I want to dig again. But first off, I want to see, all right, it's all diorite. So the moment it starts to be diorite, let's do another little digging thing here and hope we're going to finally find something worth finding down here. All right. Okay, so in the meantime, we got a pretty okay defense situation here. We got a underground pasture, and I figured that we're going to set up this plateau up here as a kind of a foraging zone. I don't have planned it out completely yet, but just wanted to give you that as a heads up. And I'm going to do a farm here that's hosting surface plants, but also don't think that I will be able to do that during this episode. Okay, let's get back to the city and see what these slackers have done so far. Okay, enough is prepared that we can do something here. So first off, the tavern needs some stuff to work well. You need some booze down here, so stockpile zone goes for food, goes for drink. Here we go. So this is enough to get your people to picking up that stuff. Also, do we already make chests. No, we don't. So let's do the rock coffer thing. Here we go. So, see, I scrolled down like a madman. So, rock coffer. I want to make these out of whatever. Let's use dirt. And we're going to make sure that we always have at least 10 of these available. Rock boxes are so multifunctional. So we're going to call out another stockpile zone, which will store mugs, so finished goods, enable all, disable type, enable goblets. So this is how we do it. And now this is a setup which allows us to get the tavern rolling without a tavern keeper, if you have it like that. If you want to employ a tavern keeper and have guests and accept rumors and all these things, you also need a chest in there. That's why I'm making one. We're going to live we're going to live risky here. Okay, so let's see what has happened with our mining ops. So they didn't find anything in the diorite layer either. Oh, wobbly. So this ain't good news so far, but it ain't the end of the world. Actually, I'm quite happy that we're seeing here a pretty difficult embark that doesn't come with all the goodies right from the get-go, because, you know, that's that. Oh, I just remembered, last episode I wanted to do a bit of a agricultural stuff here too. Wait a sec, I don't want to go that direction. So, not agriculture, tailoring. I got sidetracked by my misplacements here. So, tailoring. We're going to do some preparation here. So, some base, yet again, you know this already. And we're going to put up some loom out here, because looms are, yet again, no workplaces where people would make any artifacts at. So, we don't need to worry about that. So, cassiterite, tetrahedrite, finally! Oh man, finally. So when we went deep down deep enough, so here, there was another new layer, schist. That's something we can probe yet again. But turns out this gapper layer here features tetrahedrite and cassiterite. These are the metals that we were looking for. Tetrahedrite features copper and silver, whereas cassiterite features tin. So we got now the metals together that we need for bronze. Hell yeah, I was already getting a little bit nervous here. So between the second and the third cavern layer, we finally found the ores that we were looking for. Hell yeah, goodo. Let's get back to the area here for a moment. As you see here, instantaneously as the loom has been set up, the pigtail thread is being woven into pigtail. So we're already preparing pigtail here, but we don't have configured our farmer's workshop yet to process these things properly. Let's do this real quick. So the farmer's workshop does a multitude of things for you. Here we are going to do a couple of things. First off, I want to automate animal shearing and animal milking, because these things, it's pretty cool if you have them automated. Also, I want to make sure that plants get processed. That's the procedure that transforms pigtail into thread. And the next thing that we're going to go for, and that's something for the future, is processing plants into bags. So that's when you work with quarry bushes. So, shearing animals. I'm just going to configure this, that this gets started every day. So it's checking every day if there are any shearable animals. Same goes for the animal milking. Plant processing, we're going to do this as long as there are enough processable plants. I'm going to set this up as long as there are more than 10, out of the simple reason pigtails do share a usage in the paper making industry as in the cloth making industry. So I want to make sure that there's always something left for the paper making. This way, we'll only start processing these things as soon as there are more than 10 pigtails. This is just for the future, but I wanted to get you the understanding here. So, process plant to bag. This is right now not necessary because we're not planting any quarry bushes, but we can do this now. So quarry bushes. Quarry bushes are a really, really good source for food. You can cook with them, and they the real fun part is that when you process them into the bag, you get the seed back and you get leaves out that you can cook at the kitchen. So it's a win-win situation, all in all. Okay, let's do real quick the leatherworkers workshop in here and the clothier's workshop. I'm leaving open one bay as needed if we ever need to expand our business. You know, sometimes you just need to. Okay, so far so good. Let's get back to the city core. As we see here, everything has been set up so far. Another monster hunter is petitioning. I really should start with the next episode to set up something on the cavern layers because there's so many weirdos asking for that. Okay, so finally, tavern. You set up a meeting area, and we're going to make it that large, and then we're going to erase this here because this is, or wait a sec, we'll go for something like that. Yeah, that's just what I wanted. Okay, this is going to be the tavern, so boom. Gilded breakfasts, I like that name. So we're also going to add one bedroom here. That's going to be this little small one. And here I'm going for this icon and I'm assigning this to the gilded breakfasts. So instead of assigning it to a dwarf, I'm assigning it to the inn. And now the inn has its own room for rent. It's just one, but we might expand on that later. So let's put in a chest. Oh, we don't have any yet. Okay. Well, we gotta wait until the coffers are done. The interesting part is, as long as the tavern is open like that and no tavern keeper is in there, there will be no rumors extracted from the guests. That's basically what the tavern keeper does. Also, you can configure your tavern if it should only accept visitors from your fortress itself or from outside. We're going to leave it all open for all visitors because, you know, we don't want to play too safe here. Otherwise, how should we learn anything out of that? So, but if you want to be paranoid, you can't just disable the guests all in all, and then you're good-o. Another thing that we can do now, we can say goodbye to the easy meals, because that's just, you know, that was just the beginning. We're going to go for the lavish meals now in the kitchen, because lavish meals are just insanely valuable. They are amazing trading goods, and we're just going to make that until we have 1,000 meals available. So the kitchen won't cook away or booze. I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen. And this way we are going to cook only what we got there. But a freaking lot of it. Okay, so let's head back to the mining ops and see what we can do there, or what has happened out of the mining designators that I did there. So the schist layer didn't turn out anything interesting. So them boys are still mining down here. Really got to keep an eye out on these, because, you know, digging those veins is sometimes breaching cavern layers, and I've made the experience whenever I assign vein mining like this, I like to keep an eye out on what my little dwarfs are doing, because, you know, it's better to just react instantaneously. Olivin here is a really sweet looking stone. It's the greenest stone I know of. Here we got some gemstone, resin opal. Wonderful. Or is it opal? Here in Germany, we call it opal, you know. Sometimes the pronunciations in gemstones get a little bit Germanized, so please forgive me. It's hard to to have the proper pronouns on all these minerals and all. So, enough sidetracking. We got a lot of tetrahedrite, and let's see, there's also a ton of cassiterite. Wonderful. So we are stacked, my friends. So we could now, of course, go for a super efficient, crazy layout and now start digging down here until we pump up that magma. But I don't want to go for that project right away because we don't have that much building material, workforce, or whatever open. So our first smithy project now will be featuring... Wait a sec, why are these there grass? Well, whatever. our first smithy project will be featuring charcoal, because, you know, charcoal is just a good material to work with. So let's tell our miners that this is almost as important as their deep mining, because I want to set up the basics of the industry. The cool thing is that we have now the wood industry and the smeltering industry at the same location. That's cool because now, since we don't have any coal that we can work with, that means we can now set up the wood furnaces right across here. You know, wood furnaces will be over here. I'm actually going to dismantle the carpenter's workshop here. Carpenter's workshops will go here. Wood furnaces will go here. So there's a very, very short commute between the charcoalers and the smithies. That's going to be a pretty good thing. So therefore, we're going to put the smelter roughly on here because, you know, I want to have a pretty good logistic connection here. So while we're talking about logistical connections, let's put that to the extreme by putting up a long storage bay here. That'll help us a lot in manufacturing more things. So smelters, yet again, you don't need to go for designated bays here because smelters can't be involved in the artifact generation process. Therefore, you don't need to go for this lockable setup. So we're going to go for a metalsmith's forge over here. So we got now the basics down. What our industries now require is wood, a lot of it, and charcoal. So let's go back downstairs. I forgot one vital thing that I meant to do. Set up a new hotkey. I personally love to set up hotkeys when I have new zones where I'm more often working at. So this is a worthy Shift F2 location. Because, oh look at that. This is the next value type of gemstone. So the stuff down here is actually quite valuable. So let's set up a small mining job here so people don't have to walk all the way around this thing here when they're hauling stuff, you know. And it does seem as if there was nothing here reaching lower layers of caverns. That's actually good news because I don't want to go deeper at this very moment. So is there finally the chest making at some point? Yes, it is. Brilliant. So we're going to go on over to the work orders area, and I'm going to order at the stoneworkers workshop cabinets just in advance because I know that we're going to require them later anyways, and it's always nice to have these things prepared before they bite you. So we're going to make bauxite cabinets. I like to designate a certain stone type just for the fun of it, because I like to have my my furniture in a uniformous look, you know? It really sucks for me personally if all my tables have a motley look or, you know? Do that as you see fit. It's your fortress. Design choices are totally up to you. Also, there has been the... well, how to put it? Some people were mentioning that they were hoping for a stronger defined layout in this fortress and design and all these things. So I'm personally this is very strongly reflecting my play style a lot, you know. I love to have a general layout, like for example saying here this floor is for the stoneworks and so on and so forth, and then evolve into the evolve these setups into the requirements that show up, you know. So, for example, here we put the wood and the metal industry together because there wasn't a room down here anymore for an entire own floor. And since we didn't find any coal, I even put some good usage out of that. I personally am not a big fan of blueprints. That's my personal play style, I think, because I really try to do something different every fortress that I build, and the moment I fall back to blueprints, well, I think you get the idea that this is not necessarily a good environment for me to try out something new once I do blueprints. Although I don't want to condemn it because everybody plays his sandbox differently, you know. This is very, very important to note that especially games like Dwarf Fortress are expressing your creativity to a very, very considerable level. So what I'm trying to say is, if you think, man, I would do this completely different than this dude here, by all means do it, because you know it's your fortress, and I'm just giving you some ideas how to manage things here, and this series' main intention is to give you tools to build the fortress that you want. So, enough of the jibber jabber. I want to have some wood because there's going to be a huge requirement there. I'm not going to chop any wood up here at the plateau because if I chop any wood at this area here, it'll rip a hole into the ground and then I'll have to do flooring and whatnot. And I came up with the idea that we might use this as an orchard of sorts. So therefore, all the wood that will get chopped will be chopped down here. This has the nice side advantage of freeing up the territory for my further fortress building, because this area, as we see it here, is just the building site for the actual fortress. But, you know, for starters, we just have to chop wood, because now we can finally turn that stuff into charcoal and have some good fun with it. So here we have this weird occasion again where the haulers just don't get their stuff done. Those pigs that I bought the last caravan, you know, it's almost fall again, and they haven't hauled them anywhere. But I can tell you how that comes together. There is no zone designated for them, therefore they don't know where to put them. So to put an end to these problems, well, I'm going to do something I personally don't like to do, but I'm going to do this as follows. We're going to do a general stockpile zone yet again, but no refuse, no corpses, no stone, no wood. You know, all these heavy things I'm going to exclude now. No food. We definitely don't want any food here. No gems. We have a stockpile zone for that. No furniture. You see, what I'm playing here is kind of a exclusion game, where all the things that have no real place here in the fortress will now get one. So that's the best way that I can come up with, and hope that these things finally will get hauled to where they belong. Okay, so we got the basics of the smithies down here. I'm not going to go too deep in that design for today, because in the next episode I'm going to dig around here a lot, and we're going to do some organized system here, because right now, as you might already have noticed, it's quite disorganized. But I have plans for the smithy environment here, and it's going to churn out bronze at a pretty cool pace, as fast as the workers will work. Promise. So, in case you're wondering, by the way, I'm keeping all these bays open here, like the stoneworkers workshop, and for example, because if I would build now more stoneworkers workshops, the work orders would fill all the workshops, and since I have a pretty low population, I keep the amount of workshops as low as possible, because this way I can make sure that the workshops don't hog too many workers, basically. I've had that several times where there was just a allocation of workers that no mining and no hauling got done because they were all busy crafting. So the tavern is now almost ready. We're going to put this down here, and we're going to put up a tavern keeper. So, well, as you see here, they all come with different skills. My expedition leader has the best talking skills, but as with all the things in Dwarf Fortress, the more somebody does something, the better he or she gets at it. It is a little bit early to designate a tavern keeper, and well, it ain't that much of a big deal though. I meant to have a tavern early, so I'll have a tavern early. Also, since the year 2 is getting closer, you might notice that this at the clock, we're starting to churn out new apartments, because I made the experience the moment that you get new immigrants, you're getting plenty of them. You know, there's always a good idea to prepare already the rooms in advance, because, you know, the moment you have these, you don't have to worry about that problem anymore. Also, we're going to have to work on some happiness tweaks in the next episode, but one thing at a time. I don't think this is too necessary today. As you see here, we have some people who are slightly mopey, so we might do something about that. I cannot really foresee what we're going to require for that, but the fact that we got apartments here should be already enough to keep them happy enough to avoid a mutiny. Alrighty. So everybody, I'd say we did a good job here. We have a fully functional tavern. We have struck all the metals that we require for further operations. We have a really, really nice smithing area here set up. And next episode, we're going to fire up the industries. I'll do a lot of work order optimization, I think, in the next episode. We're going to designate a lot of workshop areas and those things. So if you were looking forward to these things, next episode will be a treat for you. Thanks for watching, everybody. Drop me your comments down below. I'd love to hear from you, as you all know. And as usual, leave a thumbs up on that video. It helps so much for the visibility of the series. And consider subscribing to support this channel. It does help a ton. And if you put on the bell thing, you get even notifications of all the new stuff that I'm publishing. There is a playlist link down there leading to the entirety of the series, leading to other tutorials I made for Dwarf Fortress or a total beginners series for Dwarf Fortress. Go knock yourself out. I'd be delighted if you'd give them a look. And that's all I had to say for today, except for have a wonderful time and see you soon.